gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Retro Gamer Ranting podcast. Your source for the rantings and ravings about classic gaming, retro gaming, indie gaming, and maybe, if we have the time, some of those newer games too. Come on in and enjoy! Holy crap, welcome everybody, it is the Retro Gamer Ranting here, aka Twitch, aka Retro GR, aka I have way too many nicknames. That's my own fault though. Welcome to the first ever podcast of the Retro Gamer Ranting. I went into this on my channel update, but today I'm going to go into it a little bit more of why I am doing this, why I'm doing a podcast versus my usual vlogging. It mostly just comes down to time. But first, let me just tell you what this is going to be about. As my little intro, which I may or may not keep depending on what people say, says, I'm just going to be ranting and raving about indie gaming, retro gaming, and maybe, just maybe if I have the time, I'll rant and rave a little bit about some newer games too, which I'm actually going to be ranting and raving about today is a newer game. So that is what this, that's the gist of it. That's the shorthand version of what this podcast is really. What it's going to turn into, who knows? But that's what makes this fun. And like I said before, I am the Retro Gamer Ranting, the Retro Gamer Ranting, and that is what I'm going to be doing. Who knows where the flow will go? Who knows where different side subjects I will go off on? Who knows what I will start with, and who knows what I'll end with? But that's what makes this exciting. And that's what makes it uncensored. Retro Gamer Ranting, uncensored. And unedited. So yeah. So again, that's kind of like the shorthand of why I'm doing this podcast. Because when I do vlogs, I feel like I have to be more edit-y. I don't know if edit-y is a word, but I just made it up. So I'm being more edit-y. I try to keep my vlogs shorter, less than 15 minutes. Usually around the 12-minute mark or something like that. I try ideally. And what happens when I do a lot of these rants, when I record them for my vlogs, I end up editing a lot. I usually go off on tangents. I usually go off subject a lot of times. And obviously, when you are vlogging about a certain subject, you want to stick to that subject. You don't want to go off starting about talking about Duke Nukem and then all of a sudden you're talking about Yoshi Island. Which I don't know, if I could somehow make that connection, that would be pretty sweet. So, yes. Who knows? I guess you could somehow make that connection. I don't know where. I guess Yoshi and Duke Nukem both shoot projectiles. Only Duke Nukem uses a gun. So, anyway, I feel like I got to be a little more... I have to edit. I have to cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of points, a lot of things that I don't want to. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to edit this any. It's not a live podcast. I might do a live podcast down the road. So I might do some editing to this just for the sake of it. If I need to pause and take a break or something like that. But mostly I'm going to keep this as uncensored as possible. Try and keep it raw. Try and keep it real. And that's what it's going to be. As for the length of this, who knows what it's going to be. We'll find out. Half hour, 2 hours. Hopefully not 2 hours. But we'll go from there. And that's basically what I'm going to do. I want to upload something like this to YouTube, have the MP3 file ready for download so you can take it with you somewhere if you want. You listen to it and just, turn this on. You don't have to worry about anything visual going on in the background. It's just me talking. Maybe put on a video game, play a video game, listen to a podcast, put it on in the car while you're going to work, enjoy it. I'm going to tell you now, for those of you who are new to me, I'm a mostly PG to PG-13 kind of person. I don't swear that much. If I do, it's the not-so-naughty words, I suppose. So I like to try and keep things family-friendly. Also, if you are new to all this, feel free to check out my YouTube channel, my YouTube videos. Hessrf 1981 is the YouTube channel name. Again, another nickname, Hessrf 1981, I know. But again, I made my YouTube channel way before I thought I was going to be making YouTube videos. But obviously, you're probably listening to this through my YouTube channel right now. So just check out my other videos, see what I'm about, all that good stuff. I figured, what's to start things off? What have I been doing? What have I been playing as of late? I've actually been playing a lot of Batman Arkham games, not just Arkham Origins, which came out recently. Gotten back into playing some Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. It was really weird going back into Arkham Asylum after playing Arkham Origins and Arkham City because not that it's missing things, it's just you're kind of used to the mechanics they implemented in Arkham City, and all of a sudden you realize they're not there in Arkham Asylum. Not to knock it, Arkham Asylum is still a brilliant game, possibly right up there with some of the best superhero games ever made, I'd have to say. Right up there next to Arkham City. So I've been playing a lot of those. And the only reason why I started playing Arkham City and Arkham Asylum again was, well, one, I wanted to milk them for Steam cards because I hadn't yet. And I've mentioned this before. I'm kind of obsessed with getting all my Steam cards with all the games I own and then selling them on the Steam market. So I am primarily a Steam gamer. I am a PC gamer for the most part, through and through. I've been a PC gamer a lot through my life, even though my first experience with gaming was in the arcades and on Atari 2600. I mastered the art of gaming on a PC. Not to say that I am not a console gamer. I do enjoy the classic games. I had a Nintendo. I did have an Atari, like I did say before, and I have a ton of them now. I've been collecting them ever since I've gotten older because, I didn't grow up in a home that, not to say that I wasn't blessed, I wasn't privileged, but, my family didn't up and spoil me with every system that came out and every game that came out, which is fine. I'm not knocking that because a lot of families, back in the day, a lot of families were lucky they had a TV in their house, let alone a game console, and a lot of the times the game consoles people did get would be secondhand ones you'd find in the newspaper. So I basically got an Atari 2600 because of a newspaper ad. I got my first Nintendo because of a newspaper ad. Never bought it brand spanking new. But that's just how it was back in the day. Nowadays, you go to GameStop and get a used console or a used game, or, you just look online, go to Amazon. It's all just there. Everything is there. And you can usually get a pretty good discount, and, depending on things. But it was a different time when I grew up. And so I grew up in the arcade. I grew up as a home console gamer, and I grew up as a PC gamer. I have all of that as my, origin, I suppose. And so I'm not saying I am a master of my craft of retro gaming. And I'm not going to say I am Mr. Hardcore Lore, but I do appreciate all forms of gaming, from everything from handheld to PC to console. Even phone games, even casual, hardcore, midcore, whatever. If you want to put a title on it, I'll appreciate it somehow, And that's what I try to do, is I'm going to try and put that kind of personality into my podcast, into my vlogs, and into my videos, and just try and keep it real. I'm the everyday gamer. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I have bills to pay. I have housework to do. I am a very large majority of gamers right now that grew up in that gaming age in the 80s and 90s, and now they're in the real world. They're working. They have a wife. They have kids, or they have a husband and kids. I'm not knocking, the girl gamers either there, and it's a completely different world for them. So it's just interesting to see how we've matured as gamers, and how we kind of turn into crotchety old gamers sometimes. I notice myself a lot of times looking at newer games going, I remember back in the day, all this Call of Duty crap. I remember Doom and Duke Nukem. Those games are 10 times better than this any day. And by the way, they are. That's just my opinion. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. These are just my opinions, made for debate. I'm not trying to shove my feelings on the gaming nation down anyone's throat. This is just my opinion, or my friendly opinion, and I'm not knocking anyone. So, hopefully it helps stir people's conscience into thinking a little bit more about the state of gaming as it was, and how, if we forget our past, and how it affects gaming future. And that's why I love indie games, because a lot of indie games nowadays take a lot of, or are basically made by developers who are around my age, in their late 20s, early 30s, that grew up on Mario, that grew up on Atari, that grew up in the arcade, that remember all those classic games, Sonic, F-Zero, you name it, Street Fighter, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, and they allow them to influence how they make games today, and there's always so many references to that, and I find it brilliant, and that's why I've found myself mostly becoming an indie gamer as of late versus a AAA gamer, because most of the time AAA games just disappoint me, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But indie games, even if they do disappoint me, at least I feel like I'm supporting an indie developer that's putting their heart and soul into things, not selling their soul to make a buck, you know. And that's why I appreciate indie games and, of course, the retro games, because there's just that's where the influences lie. And I think that's where a lot of the creativity lies, not graphics. Not look at the next gen graphics, these are so gorgeous. No, innovation, taking something familiar, adding stuff to it, warping it, turning it into something new and fresh, and just adding mechanics that you wouldn't believe. You know, games like Minecraft and Terraria. I mean, look at Terraria. A lot of people are like, oh, Terraria is just a 2D Minecraft clone. No. Terraria is not a 2D Minecraft clone. There are a lot of similarities between them, between crafting and building, but I'd say there's more in common with Castlevania and the such, and even Metroid, and then I would Minecraft. And it takes familiar stuff, and it's just like, okay, what if we take the exploration adventure game and we turn it on end and we have it so you can build whatever you want to build. There's all these different monsters, all these different events, and just gives you infinite possibilities over and over again. That's why I love Terraria so much. And again, Minecraft, same thing. You know, I haven't put a lot of time into Minecraft. I know what's wrong with me, but I chose Terraria over Minecraft. Not to say Minecraft is bad, but same thing. You know, you give this person this vast world, this sandbox, and go, do whatever you want. Build, explore, fight, become a warrior, become a, gardener, raise pets, whatever. And a lot of, I think that's wonderful because it's still building on the core aspects of gaming that a lot of people forget about. You have so much history just in those two games, and you can see so many references to it if you just keep your eyes open to it. And so that's why I love indie, and that's why I love retro. And it's not that I don't love newer games too. There are a ton of newer games that I just absolutely adore and think are great, but when you are a gamer on a budget like I am, when you have more things to worry about than gaming, like family and friends and bills, then, you might find yourself leaning towards indie games that run for less than $20 a pop, 15, 10, 5, 3. A brilliant game called Dead Pixel is $3 full price. I think it's like $2.99. And that game is brilliant. There's a lot more content in that game than some AAA titles. And full price on Steam, Dead Pixel is $3. It's $2.99. And if that thing goes on sale, you can nab it for $1, $2. That's an indie game. Everyone's got $2 in their pocket half the time. So, and that's why I find myself leaning towards indie games more. And of course retro, because retro games are vastly available to people nowadays, especially with digital distribution. And I still like collecting the physical games as well. I always love going to like rummage sales and stuff and finding that. So finding a good old classic retro game and being like, wow, I haven't seen that in eons. I'm buying that. Thank you. Thank you for Asteroids. Thank you. Thank you very much for this F-Zero copy on the Super Nintendo. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So yeah, so that's where I'm coming from, I guess. A brief history. I was going to say what I was playing lately, and then I remembered I should at least explain what I'm doing. See, I'm already ranting in 8 different directions. But yes, back to the Arkham series. I have been playing some more Arkham lately. I've been enjoying it a lot. I reinstalled Arkham City Game of the Year Edition and enjoyed it a lot. Arkham Origins is the game that got me back in it because don't get me wrong, Arkham Origins is a good game. And I'm going to give you this disclaimer right now. I'm going to be talking about Arkham Origins. I'm going to be giving away spoilers. I'm going to be giving away plot points. The game's been out for, I think, a few weeks now. So if you are afraid of spoilers, I'm sorry. I guess just skip the rest of this, I suppose. I can't give you a timestamp because I don't know when I'm going to be giving you spoilers. But I'm just going to tell you there will be some major spoilers I might be giving away while talking about Arkham Origins story. It's not really going to be a big deal. Not like in Arkham City where people are like, oh, these huge spoilers, you know. But, so I'm warning you now, from this point on, if you don't want to hear anything about Arkham Origins spoilers on the story, then cut off. Ready? 3, 2, 1. There, you've been warned. You guys gone? Good. No, not good. Actually, I want you to listen. I'm not happy that you'd have to leave because of spoilers. Arkham Origins is a good game. Getting that out of the way. It's a good Batman game. The PC port is buggy as all heck. Very disappointed with the PC port. What is it? WB Montreal? What did you do? I didn't have this much trouble. I know. Yeah, there were a couple of bugs in Arkham City. I ran into a few bugs every now and then, but nothing to this degree. Including like the Enigma side quest where you have to get one of the towers that just recently got patched, but you know no one could do it. Here's what I loved about this bug. There's a tower when you play the game. Enigma, the Riddler, but he's the Enigma in this one because he's not the Riddler yet. Origins, right? He basically goes, oh, I have all these towers captured, and you can't use your fast travel bat jet as long as I have them taken care of. So you have to go and liberate them by hacking the towers. One of the towers you couldn't do because you'd get in there, you'd hack the computer, and then you'd get trapped in there. And so, in a brilliant move by Enigma to trap Batman, you know, he locks the window that you came in. And there's a ventilation shaft in there that you could obviously climb through. This was Enigma's big plan, not to gas him, not to lock it and gas him, you know, or have the thing blow up when he hacks it. Sometimes villains just use the most complex ways to try and trap these superheroes. It was just to trap them in there. So you use your grapple hook and you pull down the things, pull off the vent so you can climb up there. And you grapple up there and then you get stuck. At least I would get stuck. Some people, you couldn't climb in and climb out. So you wouldn't be able to liberate that tower. Some people don't care. You know, 100% people who have OCD and have to 100% everything, they care. And I just wanted the fast travel. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to have to bat claw and glide my way all over Gotham in order to get from point A to point B. So before it got patched, I was looking around on the Steam hub and someone came up with a way of around it. So in order to get around it, you use another glitch in the game to get by that glitch in the game, which involves gliding to some pipe, crouching and walking in a specific way, and then all of a sudden Batman will just pop up into the air and then land on top of the tower, which bypasses all of that, and so you don't have to go through the vent shaft and everything like that. And then you beat it, you get out, you know. And so I found it hilarious, you know, that you use a glitch to beat a glitch. And I did it. I actually did it. I don't know why. Even though I wasn't having as much fun with Arkham Origins, I was still trying to do all the things. And that was it. Like, there was a couple of times in playing the game that I was afraid my progress wasn't getting saved. There was one point in the middle where you're in the hotel trying to track down the Joker after you go through the amusement park ride and beat everyone up and you're going to leave. I'd go to open the door to leave, the game would crash on me. And it did this to me a couple of times. And then I'd restart, I'd go to leave again. And then finally what happened was it restarted my checkpoint, but it wasn't, Batman wasn't standing where I was at the checkpoint. He was starting at the very start of the amusement park. So I thought I was going to have to do the whole thing over again. But no, all the objectives were done up to that point. Just had to start at the very beginning of the little amusement park in the hotel again. So I worked my way all the way back, got to the door that every time I'd go to leave, it would crash, and finally it let me out. Because I'm just like, great, this is a bug. It finally let me out, and I'm like, so it was weird. It was like the whole time I was playing the game, I was expecting something to crash or something to go wrong. The story even wasn't that invigorating. Like the story, like Arkham City, I liked the story. It reeled you in really early. Oh God, they got Bruce Wayne. They threw him in Arkham City. What are we going to do? And it just kept you going. There are always these little twists and turns, some of them more obvious than others. Oh no, Joker's sick. No, he's not sick. Wait, now he is again. Now he isn't again. I'm so confused. Oh, it's Clayface. Whatever. And it's interesting. The characters were written really well. Of course, fans will say Bane wasn't written very well, but whatever. That's one of the things with Arkham Origins is they really were playing up Bane. I've never been so sick of Bane in my life after playing Arkham Origins. I've never been a big fan of him. I know that a lot of people are big fans of Bane, especially with the recent movie, the Batman movie. They're like, ooh, Bane, we gotta have Bane. No, you don't need to have Bane. But they really played up how Bane was smarter in this one, and I think they did it in a way where they were trying to pacify the fans who thought Bane wasn't quite as bright as he should have been in Arkham Asylum, particularly in Arkham Asylum versus Arkham City. But you can always argue that he was under the influence of the Titan drug in Arkham Asylum. And so that's why he wasn't so smart. And then in Arkham City, he was kind of a side quest character only. You didn't even fight him, I don't think. You worked alongside him. You fought alongside him at one point, which I thought was actually kind of cool, because there was a point where Batman and Bane in the comic books were actually buddies for a while. So that was kind of cool. But in Arkham Origins, there was really no reason. They didn't really build up the fact of why is Bane want to break the bat. And here's the thing. This is the part. When is this happening? This is supposed to be Batman's been Batman for 2 years. What point in history is this? Because it's confusing, because everyone's using modern technology. Everyone's using smartphones and all of the, it would have been more interesting if maybe they would have set it in a different time period, like in the 90s or the 80s or something. Because everything was too fresh and new. Everything looked fresher and newer than Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And it's like, this is in the past. How far in the past? We don't know. Was it 5 years in the past? 10 years in the past? Was it last year? Because otherwise, all these events kind of happen really quickly. And so it's kind of continuity-wise, it's confusing. It's like you have better technology now in the past than you do in the future. If you play Arkham Asylum after playing Arkham Origins, you kind of go, well, where did all these gadgets go? So it's kind of weird. It's like, that is one thing. When I went back to Arkham Asylum, I'm just like, why didn't Batman bring all his gadgets with? Because you literally just get your Batarang when you start in Arkham Asylum. In Arkham Origins, you get everything right off the bat, practically. There's a couple of things you can get later on, like upgrades and stuff, but you pretty much get everything you need right off the bat. So you feel like Batman a lot quicker, I think. But still, you don't really work for stuff. You do. You have to do those challenges. And then you can unlock things instead of leveling up and unlocking them when you want to. I hate that. I hate it when they force you to do a specific thing in order to unlock something in video games. I always have. I always hated it. A lot of people might have liked it. Excuse me. But in GoldenEye and in Perfect Dark, where you had to do the time trials challenges in order to unlock cheat codes and stuff, I'm just I was never that good to do that. I'm a gamer, but I'm not going to claim that I'm an excellent gamer or even a great gamer at that point. I'm a decent gamer at most. I like cheat codes where you just put in a cheat code. But that always ticked me off in GoldenEye. But that's the same thing. Right here, you do get a level up system, but there are only certain things that unlock after doing certain challenges or doing certain things in the game. It's huh? I got the disarm, destroy, takedown thing, after I beat the main story, when I pretty much didn't need it anymore and only needed it for doing challenge modes and stuff like that and other stuff. And it's if you're going to put up a level up system, allow me to pick what I want when I want it, you know? But anyway, off topic again. No, not really off topic, still on topic. So, yeah, so that was kind of frustrating, but still, I guess they were trying to keep you playing after the game's done, you know, see if you can do all these other things too. But yeah, the story didn't quite make sense. I wasn't that invested in it. I'm not a big fan. Black Mask, I'm like, all right, I know who he is, but he's not a big villain. Like, they're all kind of B-grade villains. Besides Deathstroke, Deadshot was in there, but I was never the big fan of him, and they didn't use him properly. Like, half of the assassins they didn't use properly. So, what was it, Lady Shiva? Like, she was a side mission. You know, someone you thought would be a big deal, side mission. You know, these assassins were built up as a big deal. You look at the original trailer where Deathstroke and Batman are fighting. It's an epic fight, and all this stuff happens, and Deadshot's there, and Black Mask shows up, and Deadshot and Deathstroke's like, you should have called off the other assassins. I almost had them. And, you know, and Black Mask is like, well, there's other people, too. And, you know, it's really epic little... And when you actually fight Deathstroke in the game, it happens really early on. Like, they make it seem like it's going to be a really epic battle, you know? And so you'd think they'd save the Deathstroke battle for the end. No, it happens like he's like the second assassin you fight, I think. Second or third, I can't remember. And, yeah, I think he's about the second, depending on if you do a side mission or not. I can't remember. You fight him, like, almost right off the bat. And he's basically used so you can get a new bat gadget afterwards because you take Deathstroke's grapple thing when you beat him. I'm just like, okay, well... And then you think after you beat him, you're like, okay, he's going to escape and he'll show up later. Nope. Batman's like, hey, Alfred, I'm going to tie him up and you call the police. And they'll come get you. You didn't do that with the Electrocutioner, but now you're going to do it with Deathstroke? I could care less about the Electrocutioner. I didn't know who the Electrocutioner was until I finally Wikipedia'd him after playing this game. And, you know, and you hit him in one punch. You know, it's pretty bad when they display the Electrocutioner and keep him in the story longer than Deathstroke. The only other character people really cared about in this game because, oh, Deathstroke. And you get to, if you pre-ordered the game, at least for the PC version, you got to play as Deathstroke in some of the challenge mode maps. Great. So yeah, Deathstroke only shows up one other time when you're in Blackgate for the second time. Because, hey, well, what do we do now towards the end of the story? Well, we had a Blackgate breakout at the start of the game. Let's do it at the end of the game, too. Because that's original. And not only that, a game that happens after this game called Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, which are on the handheld systems, has to do with another Blackgate prison breakout. That prison's pretty useless. So, but yeah, you just walk by his cell and you and Batman have a little, Batman and Deathstroke have a little conversation. They're just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Deathstroke like, well, there's no money on your head anymore, and Joker wouldn't let me out of the cell because he didn't trust me, and blah, blah. And Batman's like, I'm not afraid. I don't have a Batman voice. I'm not afraid. That's my Batman voice. That's everyone's Batman voice. Oh, and by the way, the people who took over for Batman's voice and Joker's voice, Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, they did a good Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy impersonation. Let's just say that. I was pretty impressed with it. There was only a couple of times where I'm just like, nope, that's not Mark Hamill, or nope, that's not Kevin Conroy. But it pretty much, you know from this point on when people are doing the voice of Joker and Batman, they're literally just doing their best impersonation of Kevin Conroy doing Batman or Mark Hamill doing the Joker. That's it, because that's what people want to hear. Like, anytime I hear the Joker in a different voice, like Batman Under the Red Hood, I think, was it John DiMaggio or something like that? The voice of Bender. He did the voice of the Joker in that. I'm just listening to that. I'm like, no, that's not it. No. And I don't know who did the voice of the Joker in the Dark Knight animated series. The Dark Knight Returns or whatever. But that didn't work either. It's just like, it's either Mark Hamill or nothing. Or someone trying to be Mark Hamill or nothing. That's just sort of what it is. And so, yeah, that's basically for the rest of the Joker in Batman's animated life, people are going to be trying to do Mark Hamill, or they're going to be trying to do Kevin Conroy, depending on what role they're doing. So, any voice actor. Because it's just, if it's not Kevin Conroy, when you're listening to someone doing Batman. And if it's not Mark Hamill, there's something there. So there's just people trying to imitate him. For the rest of the, possibly, who knows. So, but moving on. So the story was kind of predictable. It turns out the whole time that it wasn't really the Black Mask who put the hit out on Batman. Again, spoilers, it was the Joker for some odd reason. It was never really explained why. It was just for the fun of it. That's just part of the fun. And, this was supposed to be the first meeting between Batman and the Joker. And I'll have to admit, because you do capture the Joker about midway through the game, or close to the end of the game, and then he goes to Blackgate. And that part's kind of cool, where there's this moment where the Joker's actually stops and goes, why? Well, because there's a part where the Joker is about to die, basically, and Batman saves him. And it's like, and the Joker's like, I killed all these people, I've caused all this suffering, I was about to die, you saved my life. Why would you do that? And so it's one of those things where, out of all that insanity, like, you kind of see the Joker all of a sudden go, why? What did I find here? Who is this Batman, It was kind of a cool moment, because you actually got to get inside the Joker's head in another moment that infuriated me, because lo and behold, in another scene, it shows the Joker in Blackgate, because Arkham Asylum isn't around yet, because this is Arkham Origins before Arkham Asylum. Guess who comes in to do a psychiatrical evaluation? Harley Quinn, folks. Harley Quinn comes in to Blackgate and does his first psychiatric interview. Now, for any of you who've played Arkham Asylum, this would be fine. If this was the first game of the series and this happened, we'd be fine. Because we understand the Arkham series is in their own universe. It's trying to stay, it's taking bits from the comic book series and it's molding it into its own form. So we understand that. But in the interview tapes in Arkham Asylum, you hear the first encounter in Arkham Asylum between Harley Quinn and the Joker. So that is technically their first time. It even has the Joker going, oh, I'm your first time, huh? Whatever. Wow, that almost sounded... I was almost about to do a Jay Leno impersonation doing the Joker. That would have been bad. I can't do either right now because I have a sore throat. Oh, the irony. So that is in Arkham Asylum, a recording of the first time Harley and Joker meet when Harley's doing the interview with the Joker. So continuity-wise, it's completely shot because all of a sudden they're saying, no, Harley first met Joker in Blackgate, not when she was a temp at Arkham Asylum. Although already in the Arkham Asylum game, it proves that was the first time they met. So that was like, the second that happened, I'm like, no, you already blew it. And I, just to make sure, after that scene was done, I immediately went on YouTube and I Googled it, yeah. I went on YouTube and I searched for the tape, and I watched it, and sure enough, it was, very clearly the first time Joker met Harley was in Arkham Asylum, not Blackgate. So that annoyed me, but, so they didn't even need Harley Quinn in this game. They just wanted to put her in there because, ooh, she's in the other games. It's just like, it just baffles me why they put certain little tidbits in here. It's like, hey, remember how this is in the other games? Well, look, this is it, only younger, Look, the Penguin doesn't have the glass bottle shoved in his eye on this one. Thank God, I hated that in Arkham City. People are like, oh, that looks so cool. It's like, no, dude, you need to get that surgically removed. That's going to cause an infection, man. I don't know why, but that just made me cringe. Anytime the Penguin in Arkham City showed up and he had that bottle jabbed in his eye, I'm like, no, take that out. You can't go through life like that. but it's cool, man. He looks like a cool bad guy. Anyway, back to the Joker and that little mid-scene where he's thinking about Batman. That was, besides the Harley Quinn moment, where, again, they could have had anyone interviewing him, but they chose Harley Quinn. He's talking to her about, his encounter with the Batman, basically. And you actually get to go inside his mind, and you get to play as him. And that was actually a really cool part. That was probably the most enjoyable story part of it. A lot of the other story elements seemed really forced. But the middle part with the Joker was where it actually took a moment where the Joker was realizing, this is it. Batman's my nemesis. This is my calling in life, is to try and break the Bat. Morally, This Batman says he'll never kill. And it basically turned into his Joker's lot in life was to do everything in his power to make Batman's life miserable and to prove to Batman, you're just as bad as me. And I'm going to prove it to you by making you crack. And that was a really cool sequence. That was probably the most well-writ part of the game. And the fact that you got to play as a Joker. And then it gets completely ruined by the next part where all of a sudden Bane breaks into the Batcave because he somehow figured out Batman was Bruce Wayne and beats the crap out of an old man, because why not? You're in the Batman's Batcave should be a lot more secure than it is. I mean, he literally, once Batman finds out Bane knows he's Bruce Wayne, he calls up Alfred and goes, lock yourself in the Batcave. So I would assume Alfred, being a smart man he is, he would lock down the Batcave, unless if Bane was already in there at that moment, it was too late. That could have been that. But it's like, it's a Batcave. You should have it a little more secure than that. So Batman gets back, and then that next scene where you're supposed to feel get all the feels because Batman's afraid he's about to lose Alfred. And, oh, by the way, Bane is nowhere to be found. He just breaks into the Batcave, beats up an old man, wrecks a few things, and leaves. Yeah, good job, Bane. Oh, he has bigger plans for him. Okay, whatever. And so, there's this scene where you're with Alfred, and you're basically like, I don't want to lose you, Alfred. And Alfred's like, don't let my worries weigh down your blah, 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 and something like that. It was an Alfred quote. It's supposed to get you all teary. But there's a problem with this is this is a prequel. And the reason why this scene had no impact is because it's a prequel. You've heard Alfred's voice in the other games. You've heard Alfred's voice in Arkham City. He's alive. Unless if somehow they're just like, oh, Alfred has a twin brother that sounds exactly the same and is the same name. If they would have did that, I just would have deleted the game right there and asked for my money back. But no, it's like, okay, and by that point you have the shock gloves. So obviously, you sit there and go, all right, when's he going to use the shock gloves to shock him back to life? So by the way, a lot of people don't like those shock gloves. That was one of the innovative things. And by the way, yes, Batman shocked, you hit a button to shock Alfred back to life. Okay. And then the moment's over, Alfred's okay after being electrocuted with how much volts. And he just stands right up and is right back to being Alfred again, even though he was brutally accosted by like a 600-pound man built of pure muscle. But he's miraculously okay. So he just gets right up. And it just seemed like a forced scene, like you were supposed to, like that was that moment where Batman's like, no, I need people to help me, I need to just stop doing things on my own. It's like you could have came to that conclusion some other way. You didn't have to break into the Batcave and beat up an old man, And it just sort of made Bane seem petty versus Bane being like, I gotta break the Bat. It's like, I don't know. It just... Not to say that I know a lot about Bane to say that was out of character for him, but it probably wasn't. But at the same time, it's just like they were really trying to force all of this anger and rage towards the Batman onto you, through Bane. It's just like you're just supposed to assume he just hates the Bat that much. And at that point, it's just like Batman's like, I don't know why he hates me. I guess you need to know backstory for that, and I suppose there is stuff for that. But it's like, I don't know. They just forced Bane down your throat too much. I was already sick of him after the first time I beat him. But at least by the end, you realize why, oh, this is why he's a little dumber in the next two, because he uses something called the T1 formula. T1, I wonder what the T stands for. Titan? Well, this is Arkham Origins. Ta-da! Look at it. Everything's just connecting together. But the T1 formula. So, yeah, and apparently because the T1 formula is a much more stronger version of Venom, or unstable version of Venom, it ruins his long-term memory. So he forgot who Bruce Wayne was. Who, another spoiler. So, yeah, so that at least may... So if you're a Bane fan, you're going to like Arkham Origin because there's a lot of him in it. There's a lot of Bane in this game. I wouldn't say I enjoyed the last boss battle with him that much. Like, it just went on forever. I didn't quite enjoy it as much. I wasn't a big fan of the last boss battle in Arkham... Arkham Origins, or not Arkham Asylum either, because it was... A lot of people weren't a big fan of it because it just seemed very anticlimactic to everything. Because, Joker's now all of a sudden a big Titan monster. But Arkham City had a pretty decent last boss fight. I enjoyed that last boss fight. It went on forever as well, but it was enjoyable. It kind of fit, you know. And this one with Bane, I was just like, all right, are we done yet? Oh, look, Bane's coming back again. Are we done yet? Oh, wait, I still got to fight him. Oh, we're not done yet. Oh, another cutscene. Oh, can we just please be done with Bane? I've never been so sick of fighting Bane in a video game in my life. Can you bring Deathstroke back? Can I have one more fight with him, you know? Oh, yeah, so what were these other ones? Copper Top? Copperhead? What the heck? Who's that? Firefly? Really? These are assassins? These are people that they picked? These B-listers? And Penguin didn't have much of a role in this. He was there. And that stupid Cockney accent. Oh, it was ridiculous before. It still is ridiculous now. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. Nothing against the accent itself, but when I think Penguin, like, wah, wah, I'm the Penguin, wah, wah, wah. I guess that's a little over the top, I suppose, but I never really thought Cockney accent when I think of the Penguin and his little tardy secretaries. That was fun. He's awake, but he's naughty. He's right naughty. I'm like, wow. I guess since there isn't a lot of Harley Quinn in this, they needed some TNA put in there somewhere. So they did with the Penguin secretaries. Whoever they were, again, I wasn't invested enough in the story to remember the names and the characters. Birdie, another side quest involving someone called Birdie, who was a general in the Bane's army. Okay, that's great. Don't know who that is. So, I don't know. Again, the assassins were played down way too much. The bugs in the game were nuts. The plot holes. I mean, it's still a Batman game. It's still fun to play Batman. Play as Batman. It just feels like a glorified expansion pack to Arkham City. In Arkham City, when you were done beating the main story, you wanted to keep playing because there's so many little hidden Easter eggs. And that's what this turned into. That's what the problem was with this, is it wasn't Arkham City 2. Rocksteady was put in this situation. I think what happened was, after making Arkham City, WB came down on them and said, we need to make an origin story now. Well, what do you mean? Well, you killed off the Joker. Well, yeah, that's fine. We have ideas. We have a plan. No. You can't have a Batman game without the Joker. The next one's going to be an origin story. Don't worry. You can still work on your Arkham City too. We'll just give it to, I don't know, WB Montreal. We'll let them work on it. Oh, so you're taking the series away from us? Oh, no. We're just going to give the origin story to someone else. But we're not finished with our trilogy yet. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Well, it's okay to have an origin story in the middle of a trilogy. No, it's not! I mean, it happens. I mean, I guess it's happened in, I don't know, like, it's technically Serious Sam 3 was technically an origin story, was a prequel to Serious Sam 1 and 2. But, yes, I just compared the Arkham series to the Serious Sam series. I just did that. But, yeah, you know, that's That's apples and oranges. You don't play Serious Sam because of the story. You just play it to blow stuff up and shoot things. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City had great interlocking stories that played off each other. And they put painstakingly hidden hints and Easter eggs in each one, hinting at what the next game will be. You know, whether it be in a side quest or just little things here or there. You know, the fact that Scarecrow is going to have a bigger role in Arkham City too. You know, they're hinting at Hush, you know, all this stuff. And just finding all these little hidden niches in Arkham City, it was just so enjoyable. There was nothing like that in Arkham Origins. There was no reason to explore the city. There was nothing to do, because this is a prequel. This is an origin story, and not a very good one. But it's like there was nothing worth exploring. Nothing whatsoever. Because, you know, they'd throw in some stuff here and there. They'd be like, hey, you know this character? Well, look, here's a thing referencing that character. Okay, that's great. That has nothing to, there's not going to be an Arkham Origins 2. Well, there might be if WB has their way, or DC, who knows. But I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. But in Arkham City, there was all these hints. And I think I mentioned this before when I did an original vlog on Arkham Origins. I basically said doing a prequel after the second game, after Arkham City, it feels like the equivalent of if George Lucas would have decided after doing The Empire Strikes Back to hold off doing Return of the Jedi and do the prequel movies instead, and then doing Return of the Jedi. Because what happened was Empire Strikes Back had a cliffhanger. You wanted to know what's going to happen. What happened to Han Solo? What's Luke Skywalker going to do with his new knowledge about Vader being his father? What's going to happen? And credits roll. You know, and it's not like there was a huge cliffhanger at the end of Arkham City, but there was all this extra stuff like Azrael, finding everything with Azrael, the whole Hush thing. You know, will Red Hood be a part of it? And and that's the thing. And here's where I get kind of ticked off. Like, I don't know what the story is. I don't know if Rocksteady had, said, hey, we're going to need more time to prepare for the sequel, so maybe you guys should do an origin. Maybe they said that, and that's why WB Montreal got put in charge and other stuff. I don't know. I don't know if the story is there. I'm just thinking it might have had to do with the fact that the Joker wasn't going to be in Arkham City too, because they killed him off in Arkham City, in the first Arkham City. And that disturbed people, because you can't have a Batman game without the Joker. Yeah, you can. Batman has the most diverse rogues gallery ever. You can do a story revolving around Ra's al Ghul or Ra's Raghul or everyone screws the name up, so let me do it too. Ra's League of Assassins, whatever. Sorry, I just can't pronounce things today. Or Scarecrow, or Two-Face, or Penguin. Just, why not? He has just a great rogues gallery to choose from, and I think it'd be interesting. You could do the Red Hood storyline, where where Robin comes back as the Red Hood, and it would be a bit different from the comics, because in the comics, when they did the Red Hood storyline with Jason Todd, the Joker was still alive, but they could figure it out. They could augment it a bit, and guess what? You can use that storyline. You could put the Red Hood in there, whether it be a side mission or part of the main mission. And you could still have the Joker in it, because, lo and behold, you could do a flashback where you could play as maybe Jason Todd, trying to find the Joker and then getting caught by him and beaten to death. That would be kind of bad. Or trying to be a flashback where Batman's trying to get to the Joker in time. The events leading up to Jason Todd's death. And you'd still be able to have the Joker in the game, only in flashback form. So it was completely possible to still have Joker in the sequel without doing the whole, oh no, he's not really dead thing. I really hope they don't force Rocksteady to do that. I really hope they don't make Rocksteady go, no, you have to make the Joker alive again for the sequel. Like, you can do whatever you want, just make sure the Joker's alive again in the sequel. It's like, no, don't do that. keep them dead. It was a big impact. That was a very big emotional impact at the end of it. You know what the funny thing is? I would have saved you too. Now that is funny. I wish I could do a Joker impersonation. I really wish I could. I had a cousin that could do a really good Joker impersonation. Best I could do is maybe, you want to know how I got these scars? Yeah. Oh, well. But, it takes away so much from the end of Arkham City if they would actually say, oh, no, that wasn't the real Joker. And I think it would just tick off a bunch of fans if that was the case, too. So who knows? But again, I feel like I've been ragging on Arkham Origins a lot, but there is, a really buggy port to the PC, which I don't know if the console versions had this, but I've heard it was mostly the PC having a lot of these issues, which kind of ticks me off. The online multiplayer is kind of half-hearted. I played a little bit of it. It's not so. It's like, I don't know. It's a great idea. There are two heroes and two warring gangs, and the heroes have to take out the gang while the gang members are fighting each other. But the problem is the elements of Predator mode don't translate over to live people very well. Because live people are much more alert than the morons that are in the game that for some odd reason have issues with their neck because they can't look up. But, but players are always going to constantly be looking for the Batman and Batman Robin. If you don't know what the multiplayer mode is in Arkham Origins, you basically can play as Batman or Robin, or you can play as Joker's gang or Bane's gang, which is also kind of funny because that causes a continuity error too, because Bane doesn't have time to war with the Joker during all of this, because by the time you're done with the main story of Arkham Origins, Bane's locked up in Blackgate with his mind practically wiped because of the T1 serum. So it doesn't really fit into the story. They should have had maybe Joker going against the Penguin. That would have made more sense, but Penguin's selling the guns to everyone, apparently. But again, you're not supposed to think about it. It's just supposed to be cool that you get to play as Bane or get to play as the Joker or whatever. But they kept putting me, when I played the match, I keep getting to play as Batman, and I couldn't get anywhere. I maybe took down one or two people just out of luck, and then most of the time they just see you and shoot you, and you never have enough time to get away. It just didn't, maybe if it was tweaked enough it would work, just, it didn't seem implemented very well. I guess that was a bug too for the longest time. I don't know if they patched it yet, but on the PC version at least it wouldn't save your progress because of course you level up, you unlock things and this and that. So I don't know, but I tried it. It wasn't fun. It seemed kind of broken to me, at least from the Predator point of view where you're playing as Batman and Robin. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have been more fun if they would have put me in there as one of the soldiers, but when you play as a superhero, you want to feel as a superhero. You want to feel like you have that advantage. But when all of a sudden everyone, you're going up against 4 or 5 people who stay in a bundle and all have guns and grenades, then, what are you going to do? So, oh well. Anyway, I think my voice is starting to go on me. I've been talking for about an hour now, maybe. So, there's my opinions on Arkham Origins. Again, it's a great game. If you're a Batman fan, you're probably going to enjoy it. But obviously, the only way I can recommend this game is wait for it to go on sale, And this is it. Like, I'm not saying it's a completely horror game. Like I said, I still had fun with it. I still beat it. I still did most of the side missions, but it's not as memorable as Arkham City or Arkham Asylum. It just isn't. And so it's one of those games where the best way I can actually recommend it right now is this. It's like, one, it's not Arkham City 2. That's what everyone wanted, Arkham City 2. And we didn't get it. And we're still waiting. Hopefully that comes out soon. I guess there's rumors already that it's going to be coming out next year, which is pretty quick. So hopefully they take their time on it and give us the sequel we want. But the best way I can recommend it, if you've never, is probably the people who've never played any of the Arkham games before, which is very few, I would think. If you are a Batman fan, which let's face it, probably if you like comic books of any kind, even casually, you're probably a Batman fan, then you've probably played one of the Arkham series. But I'm sure there's some people out there who haven't played any of the Arkham series. The best way I can recommend these 3 games to you is this way. If you've never played Arkham games before, play Arkham Origins first, Arkham Asylum, then Arkham City. Gradually, your expectations will just keep going up. Otherwise, if you played Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, then Arkham Origins, you just feel disappointed. Just the things they try to implement that are supposed to be innovative, the shock gloves, which kind of people have said in forums that they purposely don't use because it's considered cheating while you're fighting because of how easy it is just to knock everyone down. The new detective mode, which just seems like a waste of time half the time. There's a couple of other new gadgets, but none of them seem extremely innovative. It just all seems like Arkham City did it better, and there was more to it, Just because you give a lot of the gadgets early, But still, it's a Batman game, and like a lot of people have said in the reviews, Batman games are like pizza, Even bad pizza is still good. And yeah, there's a lot of bad Batman games out there, but this is still pretty good. And if you're a Batman fan, I'll give you your fix. But again, if you want to, wait for it to go on sale. There's Christmas sales coming up here soon, at least on Steam. So I'm pretty darn sure they'll knock it down in price. I know last time when Arkham City came out on the PC, within a month it was already down 33% off. So whatever. So wait for it to go on sale and get it then. That's how I recommend it. And by then, hopefully all the bugs will be nipped out of it, at least the PC version. Again, I'm not sure on the console versions and all that good stuff. So, hey, anyway, thank you very much for joining me on my first ever podcast, Retro Gamer Ranting. I'm not sure how frequent this is going to be. The holidays are coming up here really soon, so I'm not going to probably have as much time to do it. But come the new year, I'm going to try and churn these out at least once a month, maybe twice a month, something like that, with different subjects and stuff. Just me, again, going off on rants like this. This has been very enjoyable. My voice is already going on me. I've put off folding clothes just so I can do this for you people. Yeah, I put off folding clothes. Such a horrible thing, that I'm distracting my folding clothes duty right now. No, so leave some comments. Follow me on Twitter at Retro Gamer Ranting. So instead of ING at the end of Retro Gamer Ranting, just put an N because it was too long. So follow me on Twitter at Retro Gamer Rant with an N, Ranting. And you can also follow me on YouTube if you haven't listening to me on YouTube right now, of course. And you'll get frequent updates when my next podcast is going to be. So that's it. That's done. First podcast in the bag, folks. As always, till next time, game fans, keep playing, and thanks for listening. Have a good one. All editing done by Twitch Hessrf. Copyright November 2013. Intro music from ocremix.org. Outro music from audiomicro.com.